Hello everyone, and welcome to a historical episode that proves truth is often stranger and frankly, dumber than fiction. We're diving headfirst into the wacky world of monarchs behaving badly, exploring the lives of kings and emperors who weren't just eccentric, they were downright bonkers. We're talking about leaders who made Marie Antoinette's alleged "let them eat cake" gaffe look like a stroke of PR genius. These rulers weren't just playing with a full deck. They were using the cards to build tiny, edible castles for their pet squirrels. Buckle up, because we're about to meet 5 rulers who give the phrase "absolute power" corrupts absolutely a whole new meaning. Over the next few minutes, we'll be taking a deep dive into the lives of these royal oddballs. We'll uncover the stories behind their bizarre behavior, explore the historical context of their reigns, and try to answer the age-old question: what happens when you give someone with the mentality of a toddler unlimited power and a crown that probably chafed like hell? Let's get into it. Our first contestant on royals behaving badly is King Ludwig II of Bavaria, a man who clearly took the "live like a king" memo a little too literally. Ludwig was obsessed with all things extravagant and fantastical, to the point where extra became his default setting, and reality just couldn't compete. While other monarchs were busy, governing, Ludwig was off building elaborate castles that wouldn't look out of place in a Disney movie. And we're not talking about your average run-of-the-mill castle with a moat and a couple of gargoyles. We're talking about castles with artificial grottos, elaborate throne rooms that would make Liberace blush, and enough gold leaf to make a Kardashian jealous. But Ludwig's fairy tale life took a dark turn as his behavior became increasingly erratic, and his lavish spending spun wildly out of control. The details surrounding his death are still shrouded in mystery, but one thing's for sure: Ludwig II certainly left his mark on history, even if that mark was a giant swan-shaped boat on a man-made lake. Next up, we have Charles VI of France, a man who proves that being king doesn't make you immune to a serious case of the crazies. Charles suffered from a mental illness that caused him to believe he was made of glass. Yes, you heard that right. Glass. This wasn't just some quirky eccentricity either. Charles's delusion consumed his every thought and action. He lived in constant fear of being shattered, and even had special clothes made to prevent him from, accidentally breaking himself. Imagine being a fly on the wall during those royal tailor fittings. Just picture poor Charles, trembling in his royal pantaloons, whispering, "A bit more padding around the elbows, please. I wouldn't want a stiff breeze to shatter my delicate physique." George III, the British monarch who gave us the American Revolution, and also apparently some truly top-notch crazy. George, bless his cotton socks, suffered from bouts of what historians now believe was porphyria, a genetic disorder that can cause severe mental and physical symptoms. During these episodes, George would experience hallucinations, seizures, and fits of rage that would make a toddler throwing a tantrum look like a model of self-control. Imagine, if you will, the founding fathers sitting down to negotiate with a king who's simultaneously gnawing on the furniture and yelling gibberish. It's no wonder the colonists decided to cut their losses and start their own country. They probably figured, hey, we might be taxed to death, but at least our leader isn't trying to eat the curtains. Now hold on to your togas, because we're about to meet a Roman emperor who makes Nero look like a model of restraint and good judgment. Caligula, a name synonymous with debauchery and cruelty, was the kind of ruler who made you wonder if maybe, just maybe, the Roman Republic had its good points. This was a man who allegedly made his horse a senator. Not just any senator, mind you, but a senator with a marble stable, ivory manger, and a staff of slaves whose sole purpose was to cater to the every whim of this equine politician. Look, I'm no expert on ancient Roman politics, but I'm pretty sure appointing a horse to the Senate is frowned upon. It's one thing to be a horse person, but it's quite another to give your beloved steed a government salary and a vote on matters of national importance. Last but not least, we have Ibrahim I of the Ottoman Empire, a sultan who makes even the most extravagant celebrity shoppers look like frugal minimalists. Ibrahim had a taste for the finer things in life, And by finer things, I mean anything that cost an exorbitant amount of money and served no practical purpose whatsoever. This was a man who once reportedly carpeted his entire palace floor with sable fur. Not just a rug, mind you, but wall-to-wall, floor-to-ceiling sable fur, because who needs to walk on anything as pedestrian as wood or marble when you can stroll across the luxurious undercoat of a small forest-dwelling mammal? Needless to say, Ibrahim's lavish spending habits didn't exactly endear him to his subjects. In fact, it eventually led to his downfall, proving that even in the 17th century you can't buy happiness, but you can definitely bankrupt a nation trying. Well, there you have it. 5 cautionary tales about the perils of absolute power and what happens when it falls into the wrong, slightly unhinged hands. These monarchs may have had crowns, castles, and more wealth than they could ever spend, but their reigns serve as a stark reminder that true leadership requires more than just a fancy hat and a penchant for the absurd. It requires empathy, rationality, and a firm grasp on reality, qualities that sadly seem to be in short supply among our illustrious group of royal weirdos. So the next time you find yourself complaining about your boss or lamenting the state of modern politics, just remember, it could always be worse. You could be ruled by a king who thinks he's made of glass or who insists on appointing his horse to a government position. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more fascinating historical content. And remember, if you ever find yourself in a position of power, try not to appoint any horses to your cabinet. It rarely ends well.